Hello, my fellow readers. It's iDarkTiffany777 with another fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story. And finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. Let me just get rid of this because it's just bothering me. So, I'm back with continuing that list from that one person who sent me all those stories. I think this is almost, they're almost done. Nope, I just checked. Nope, nowhere near done. Still got like 9 stories after this. I'm still going through the Konosuba story. Probably gonna finish that. I'm probably gonna finish reading that story tomorrow because of how fast that's going. But the story I'm reviewing is called Lovie by the Psychopaths. Hey, it's this guy again. Oh, I love this guy. he's a fun dude. I'm actually he's actually subscribed to my channel, believe it or not. Oh, shall hail the fact that Zan Partizane is the best Kirby waifu. He may love Septonia, but everyone knows. Ignore the Thunder Lady. That's right, worship her. Worship her and her no arm. You know what? I'm going on a tangent. Why don't like a lot of Kirby villains don't have arms? Like I don't like why? It's like they're just floating hands. It's like we are the cult of floaty hands. What do? We have no arms and we're evil. Now let us beat up people. I don't know where else going with that. It's just so weird. You better get it's like all the chicks. Like most of the chicks are the ones with no arms. Except for Adeline. But Lovey Dovey. How do I describe the story? How do I describe this story? Like it's so hard to describe this story. I'm almost tempted to bring out the plushies again. Yes, right. Worship bunny. Worship the bunny. I'm distracting myself at this point. Now, I will say, this story, is it good? No, it's not. It's entertaining. This story is a train wreck, but it's an entertaining train wreck. It's an immensely entertaining train wreck. Oh, this story. Okay, let's get into the story itself. So, the story stars this guy, Oliver Howard Scratch? I don't know, my mind went to Scratch for some reason. He is a guy that is completely obsessed with masculinity. Now, this is actually more of a character trait and a way to advance what the story is trying to tell than anything else. Why am I bringing it up? I'll bring it up in a little bit. He is basically just a stereotypical guy who thinks he's an alpha male sort of thing. All women should belong in the kitchen sort of deal. And he wanders outside one day and he sees a truck drawing of a little cutesy dragon. It's like, what's this? I gotta clean this up. Who did it? However, the grass in his lawn actually starts attacking him and drags him underneath the ground. And his neighbors are like, one of his neighbors like freaks out. And he gets sent to Equestria. Except he doesn't become a pony. He becomes, this. This little picture? Yeah, this is what he becomes. A hot pink dragon who has a bunch of heart motifs. Like the horns, in a certain angle, they resemble a heart. You can see right there along the sides, the back plates resemble hearts. The chest plates resemble hearts. The tail is a heart. And the dragons he ends up with is part of a group called the Lovie Dovies, which are a sort of negotiation group between the dragon clans. So basically, if something happens and there's a dispute between certain members of the clans, they contact the Lovie Dovies, they get involved and try and basically play peacekeeper to prevent the dragon from basically just going at it and going full force and all that. And honestly, the idea of a sort of like a dragonic peacekeeper corpse, it actually sounds really cool. Problem is, this story is like mostly a comedy. Despite the fact this doesn't have a comedy tag. Adventure is like, okay, fine. Adventure kind of works. I'm like wondering why there's no comedy tag to this. However, Oliver, or as he's called to the dragons, Lovie Dovie, oh god dang it, tried to help him out. And that actually causes the main source of conflict of the story. The fact that their way of doing things doesn't really work for Oliver because of how he was raised and his mindset and just everything in general. And they kind of slowly, and the dragons kind of slowly realize it's not working and maybe they should try something else. You know. God, I hate depression. It is a very weird story. There is a second plot. There is a second sort of subplot where this guy is, and where someone is inciting violence and prejudice again between ponies and dragons, trying to get them to fight again. And Celestia is trying to figure out what's going on. They do eventually. There's not really a lot of substance to the plot, I will have to say. And honestly, I think this is like this story's big flaw is the fact that the plot is very, very light, and there's not a lot of substance. This is more of a character-driven story where it puts more focus on the characters rather than the plot. You know, every story is going to have like a very, very very deep plot, and they're gonna focus on the plot. There's gonna be stories like this one that focuses more on the characters. And overall, I think the story did a pretty good job, at least as good as this type of story is gonna get when trying to focus on the characters. But there's just not a lot of true depth to the actual plot itself. It's just he shows up at with the dragons. They start kind of teasing him because of his appearance, because this is what the dragons there look like on the right, and then they see him so pink and covered in hearts, and even when he breathes fire, the fire actually forms the shape of a heart. Or was it the smoke? I can't remember if it was the actual fire itself or just the smoke. But yeah, there's a lot to like about this. It's really, what's the word? And what was that? What is that word? What is that word? I'm actually trying to play. It's so weird. I'm drawing a blank because one, work is kicking me in the teeth, and two, I actually read this story like 2 weeks ago, so I can't fully remember everything that happens. It's a very short story, only 51,000. But like I said, when it comes to the plot, now I'm trying to get back on track. There is just enough depth to understand what's going on, but everything is focused more on Oliver himself. which is where we're going to segue into the characters, which is just Oliver. Yeah, just Oliver. I don't know whether or not to actually count some of the other dragons, but I think I'll just talk about Oliver is good enough. Oliver is a very, very interesting character. When we first meet him, he's very, very... Let me actually click on this chapter. He just returned... He hired a maid to do that. Why would he clean? He was a man. Men don't clean! Although, Oliver looked over his shoulder a moment and pondered the idea. He had just returned from a good day of working out and fixing his old truck. He felt something gnawing on the back of his mind. Just walking back home from the local gym brought his attention to several things. Looking at the many sports paraphernalia adorning his walls, the colors reminded him of a gentle garden. See, you could tell that right from the beginning that whatever it is that's wrong with him when it comes to trying to be a man, it's purely psychological. He's using this as a defense mechanism to try and keep up a front because that's how he was raised. So basically, he's basically someone who actually wants to do stuff with flowers, like gardening and stuff like that. But he was raised by his family that he has to be masculine. He can't be actually... can't remember what chapter it was. Cannot remember. I can't remember. I can't remember what chapter it was. Ah, damn it. What's this one? Crap! I can't remember specifically what chapter it was. But the scene is that Lovie willingly goes down to underneath this big volcano where the Pyrrhic mother's boss, sort of the first Pyrrhic mother who's just living to just basically kind of offer advice sort of thing, talks to Oliver and finds out that he is basically raised really... Oh my god, where would it be? I think it's here. I think it is here. No. No, it's after this. Right. Yeah, here it is. I think this is it. Oh, right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Means you're right. Be it my father, my father, don't know why he said my father twice. My cousins or my friends, they always taught me and told me that men act this way. Men must be this way, but then people like you tell me. Basically, he feels that he's kind of caught between a bunch of ropes and everyone's kind of telling. And on one side, he has like his father, and probably his father and his family and his friends, forcing him to be one thing. And then on this side, now you have the dragons kind of forcing him to be this way, and it's kind of tearing him apart because he's basically directionless in life, sort of, where he doesn't know what he wants to be because he's always been told that you have to be this way, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it kind of... It inadvertently kind of teaches you a lesson where to be that other people are... I don't think it'd be a good idea because I'm actually gonna cut myself off from there because I think if I continue on that path, this video might inadvertently get political. I don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen. This is a good apolitical channel. No politics here. Right, Rayson? No, none of that. But I do think it does teach a lesson because because he's just constantly dragged in two different directions, and it caused a lot of internal strife and a lot of mental problems. That's actually the main reason why he specifically looks like this. Like, this is actually a plot point in the first couple chapters where they're wondering, why does he look specifically like this? It's because he's bottled because of how he was raised and how he grew up, being forcibly strong by everyone so many different ways, that when he transformed into dragon, the internal strife kind of forcibly manifested itself outwardly, so he turned into that because of just everything he was bottling up, and it kind of just fractured and kind of turned him into that. But yeah, he is a well-written character. I will say that he's not a phenomenal character, but I think what the author was trying to do with him kind of show the fallacy of being forced to follow people. Kind of, I think it was more. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Like the whole idea of the whole logical fallacy of following people and kind of being strung along by your family. Like, sometimes they might not be right. And I learned that in retail. I still want to do a video on that someday. I don't know, man. But he is a well-written character. I do like him. I do like the symbolism of the design to represent his fractured emotions and just manifesting himself externally. His character is well done, despite the fact he's kind of something of a comedic character. Kind of. Sort of. I don't know. There's not much to... But outside of Scots, there's all the Lovie Dovies. They're actually pretty well done. They all have very hilarious personalities. You have the dragon who's trying to teach him how to breathe, how to stand and walk around, and he's just an old crone. Like, listen, you mean, what? Hey, you! Hey, why are you standing? You were sleeping. No, I wasn't. I was meditating. Get up and on. And of course, you have Scarlet, and you have Scarlet. With it, this dragon who's like a tomboy sort of thing. And there is I gotta back. I gotta go back to this. Emborial, which is who's like an ancient lung dragon, and she's like wise, and I even like the design of she looks like a lung dragon, but she also has like these little wings along that she can like light up sort of like a cuttlefish sort of thing. And I actually wish someone drew a picture of her, of Emborial. That would have been... I would love to see a picture of Emborial. But yeah, that's it for characters or character. They're all really well. I don't have a complaint with that. Pacing. The story is very, very fast paced. There's not a lot of content. There's not a lot to the writing. It's just very basic. Oh, trust me, we're gonna get even more. But again, just like the character, it's very basic, but it's done really well. So again, I don't have a lot to complain about with that. With the grammar errors, you saw the only grammar error I think was the father thing being mentioned twice. I think that was it. But now, would I recommend this story? Because yeah, we're moving through this story. I don't really have a lot to talk about because this is honestly one of those stories you have to read to believe. That's the honest truth. Like, even if I try and describe the story, this is one of those stories that I just can't accurately describe because of just how quirky it is. It's quirky in a good way. That's why I said it's like a train wreck, but you can't. But it's an entertaining train wreck. But that leaves it to would I recommend it? That's a hard one because this one's boiling down to the fact that you have to be like completely what's the word? You have to be completely you have to figure out how the story functions from a character standpoint, especially with Oliver. Because if you don't understand Oliver's character, then you probably won't get this story. At least as deep as it might be. Or maybe I'm reading too into it with this story because it's just how weird this story is. I do tend to overthink things. Would I recommend this story? I think I would. I think I would recommend this story unless you're looking for like a super serious story. This is not a serious story. This is a goofy story. Uh, I guess my favorite part is Boreal. I just honestly think I like Boreal's character. I really want to see her design, like how she would be drawn, like like a gigantic mountain-sized dragon, and like and she has like the arms and legs, but all throughout her side of her long, sinuous body is like the cuttlefish sort of thing, and that would be really, really cool to see. But yeah, what would I change about this story? I don't think. Mm, mm, mm. I don't know. I don't know. What would I change? I don't know. I don't know what I would change. I don't like. I guess you can kind of. Yeah, I literally got nothing. Congratulations. You stumped me. You stumped me. I don't know what to do. Oh, I rather read. Where is the story? I rather read this again. Where the hell is the story? Get, get. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is that story? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Where is it? I swear to God. Yeah, here it is. There it is. I'd rather read this again. I'd rather read this. And I still love this story. Oh. Oh. See, there I am. Right there. Oh. Oh. Oh, Twilight. Creepy Twilight. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, that is Lovie. That is Lovey Dovie. I honestly have nothing more to say about the story. Oh boy. There's just not much to say about the story anymore. uh, I'll see you next time. It has been Dark Symphony 777 and cut.